Sophie had always felt there was more to her family than the Sunday dinners and polite smiles suggested. There was a quiet weight that hovered in the air whenever her grandparents spoke, a tension she could never name. Sometimes she would wake up in the middle of the night, her heart racing, because she had dreamt of numbers and symbols she didn't understand, strange sequences appearing on clocks, on receipts, even on the pages of her old journals. She had always brushed them off as coincidence, the mind playing tricks on her. But tonight felt different. It began with a message on her phone from a number she didn't recognize. No name, just 3 words, "Meet me now." The air seemed to thicken as she read it. A shiver ran down her spine. Something about the phrasing felt urgent, almost divine. She glanced out the window. The moon cast silver light across her backyard, painting shadows that seemed to stretch and twist as if guiding her. Her mind raced with questions. Who could it be? And why now? After all these years of unanswered feelings and subtle hints that something was hidden, she recalled the pattern she had noticed in recent weeks. The recurring dreams of a younger face she didn't recognize, but somehow felt familiar, and the repeated sequences of numbers. 1111, 222, 333. Always appearing at moments when she was struggling to make a decision or feeling lost. Sophie knew that these signs weren't random. She felt them in her chest, a pulse that beat faster with every passing second. Someone younger than her, someone close to the family, was reaching out, guided by something greater than themselves. It was a confession waiting to be spoken, a revelation that had been carefully timed for this very moment. She hesitated, her fingers trembling over the screen. Her instinct screamed to ignore it, to return to safety, to pretend the message never existed. But the still, quiet voice inside her heart, the one she had learned to trust in fleeting moments of clarity, whispered otherwise. This is not by accident. You must go. Sophie took a deep breath and felt a strange combination of fear and anticipation. Every instinct screamed caution, yet her spirit pulsed with curiosity and something deeper, something sacred. She realized that whatever awaited her was bigger than any mundane explanation. It was tied to her family, to the unspoken secrets, to the very lineage she had always felt strangely detached from yet inherently connected to. With a final glance around her dimly lit room, Sophie grabbed her coat, her hands steadying despite the rapid thumping of her heart. She stepped into the night, guided by the invisible thread of destiny, toward the place where the younger one's confession, the one that promised to rewrite her understanding of herself and her family, would finally be revealed. Sophie walked down the quiet streets, the cool night air brushing against her face. Her mind replayed every subtle hint from the past few weeks, the uncanny coincidences, the fleeting glimpses of a younger family member whose presence she had never fully understood. She remembered her grandmother's hushed conversations, abruptly ending when she entered the room, and her father's strange glances that never met her eyes directly. Every detail now seemed like a piece of a puzzle she was only beginning to see. She arrived at the small garden behind the family estate, where the message had guided her. The moonlight illuminated the neatly trimmed hedges and the fountain at the center, its water glimmering with an otherworldly glow. And there, near the fountain, stood someone she recognized instantly, though she had only seen glimpses before. Lucas, her younger cousin, who had always seemed quiet, almost invisible in family gatherings, yet somehow present in every small way that mattered. Lucas looked up as Sophie approached. His eyes were wide with a mix of fear and determination, and she noticed his hands trembling slightly. He seemed caught between hesitation and the pressing need to speak. "Sophie, I didn't know how to start," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, "but it's time you know the truth." Sophie felt her chest tighten. The air around them seemed charged, vibrating with anticipation. Her heart raced, and memories she had long buried, subtle hints of something hidden, dreams she had struggled to interpret, and repeated number patterns she couldn't explain, all converged in this moment. Every instinct told her this confession was not ordinary. It was spiritual, divinely timed, meant to reach her when she was ready to understand its full weight. Lucas stepped closer, his lips quivering. I've been carrying this secret for years. It's about the family, about our lineage, about promises that were broken before I was even born. Sophie swallowed hard, her mind swirling with questions and emotions. Fear, curiosity, and a strange sense of reverence collided within her. She realized that this moment would change everything, not just her understanding of her family, but her own sense of identity and the path that lay ahead. The tension thickened, the night seeming to hold its breath. The younger one's trembling presence, combined with the history of unspoken truths and divine signs, made the moment almost unbearable in its intensity. Sophie felt both dread and hope, an intricate dance of anticipation that pulled her forward, urging her to stay and witness the revelation that was about to unfold. The air felt sacred, each heartbeat echoing the weight of generations. She knew that the confession she was about to hear would not just expose hidden truths. It would have the power to liberate, to heal, and to align her with a destiny she had only sensed in fragments until now. Lucas took a deep breath, as if gathering every ounce of courage in the world, and began. Sophie, what I'm about to tell you has been buried for years, but I can't keep it hidden any longer. It's about our family, about you, about me. Sophie's heart raced. Every nerve in her body pulsed with anticipation. She remembered the dreams, the repeated numbers, the faces that had appeared, the signs she had always dismissed. Everything was converging now, pointing her to this exact moment, this exact revelation. Lucas's voice trembled. Before I was born, there was a promise that was broken. It was about our inheritance, yes, but more than that, about truth, protection, and the balance of our family's legacy. And because of that broken promise, I've had to carry something that should have been yours to know, but I was told to protect it until the right moment. Sophie's eyes widened. She struggled to process his words. Wait, you mean all this time you've known something about me? About our family that I didn't? Lucas nodded, swallowing hard. Yes, and it wasn't just any secret. It was something divine, Sophie. Something that the universe wanted revealed only when it was safe, when you were ready. Every strange dream you've had, every number pattern, it wasn't random. They were signals, guiding you to this understanding, preparing you for this moment. Her breath caught. The sacred timing, the signs she had ignored, the whisperings in her subconscious, they were all part of a larger plan. And now, Lucas continued, the confession spilling forth like water breaking through a dam. You're not just a part of this family by blood. You are the key to resolving what was broken generations ago. The mistakes, the secrets, the silence, they've been waiting for you to bring clarity, healing, and balance. Sophie's hands trembled as the weight of the revelation sank in. This wasn't just a story about inheritance or family ties. It was a spiritual awakening, a call to step into a role she had unconsciously been preparing for all her life. Every whisper of doubt, every sleepless night, every sign she had tried to ignore, it was all part of the universe leading her to this truth. Lucas's eyes glistened with unshed tears. I've been afraid of this moment, afraid of how it might change everything. But hiding it any longer would have been a greater wrong. Sophie, I'm giving you what was always meant to be yours, the truth. And it's up to you now to take it, to honor it, and to let it heal the chains of our past. In the quiet of the garden, Sophie felt something shift deep within her. The revelation wasn't just information. It was liberation. It was a chance to break patterns, to understand her family, and to embrace a destiny that had been quietly calling her all along. She realized that this confession, though trembling and hesitant, carried the weight of generations and the potential to transform everything she had known about herself, her family, and the divine guidance that had led her here. Sophie stepped back from the fountain, her mind spinning with Lucas's confession. Every word weighed heavily, and yet a strange clarity began to seep through the confusion. She had known, deep down, that something was different about her family, but to finally hear it out loud, To have the younger one reveal a secret so monumental was both terrifying and liberating. Her thoughts collided like storm clouds. Why now? Why me? She questioned herself. Had she been ready for this truth? Could she forgive the years of silence, the unspoken burdens carried by Lucas? Fear gnawed at the edges of her heart, whispering doubt. What if the revelation changed her perception of her family forever? What if she was unprepared for the responsibility it implied? Lucas noticed her hesitation. Sophie, I know this is overwhelming. I've been holding it for so long because I thought it was too heavy for anyone to bear. But I was wrong. You were meant to hear it. You were meant to know. The signs, the dreams, everything pointing you here wasn't coincidence. It's divine timing. Sophie's chest tightened. The spiritual weight of his words pressed on her, yet within it, she felt a pulse of understanding. It was as if the universe itself had been orchestrating this moment. Every strange number sequence, every pattern in her dreams, every whisper in her subconscious had prepared her for this unveiling. Her heart wavered between fear and acceptance. She realized that this inner conflict was necessary, a crucible through which she would emerge stronger. The revelation wasn't just about Lucas or her family. It was about her own capacity to face truth, to forgive, and to embrace her role in breaking generational cycles. Lucas, I feel it, Sophie whispered. The weight of this secret, it's not just yours or mine. It's bigger than us. It's like the universe has been waiting for this moment for decades. I see it now. Every dream, every number, every hesitation, it was all pointing me here. Lucas nodded, relief flickering across his face. Yes, and now it's your choice. You can accept it, honor it, and let it heal what has been broken, or you can turn away. But I believe, Sophie, that you were guided to this. The divine doesn't make mistakes. Sophie closed her eyes, letting the moonlight wash over her. The conflict within began to settle, replaced by a quiet, sacred understanding. She felt the chains of secrecy, fear, and old pain loosen, and she realized that the truth, though heavy, was also a gift, a path to liberation, healing, and alignment with the higher plan that had always been silently guiding her. When she opened her eyes, she saw Lucas not as a bearer of secrets, but as a partner in this sacred revelation. Together, they stood at the threshold of transformation, ready to step into the divine truth that would finally break the generational chains that had bound their family for so long. The garden fell into a profound silence, broken only by the gentle rustling of leaves and the distant murmur of the fountain. Sophie and Lucas stood facing one another, the weight of the confession lingering between them like a sacred presence. Sophie felt her chest tighten, not with fear, but with a deep, sacred resonance, the feeling that something far greater than themselves had guided every step to this moment. Lucas's lips trembled as he spoke again, softly but with certainty. Sophie, I've carried this secret my entire life, thinking I was protecting the family, protecting you. But now I realize that true protection isn't silence. It's honesty, transparency, and love. The moment has come to release this burden, so it no longer defines us. Sophie took a deep breath, letting the tension melt slowly into clarity. Every dream, every sign, every number sequence she had noticed over the years flashed in her mind. She could see now that nothing had been random. The universe, destiny, and divine timing had orchestrated this unveiling, not to harm, but to heal, to awaken, to liberate. With a trembling but steady voice, she spoke. Lucas, thank you for trusting me, for choosing to reveal this. I feel it. The chains that bound our family for generations, they're breaking. And in this moment, I understand the pain, the secrecy, the hidden truths. They were never meant to imprison us forever. They were meant to prepare us for this release. A soft glow seemed to fill the garden, subtle but unmistakable, as if the universe itself was acknowledging their surrender to the truth. Sophie felt tears run down her cheeks, not from sadness, but from a profound relief of clarity. The hidden parentage, The broken promises, the generational burdens, they were no longer invisible weights pressing down on them. They were being transformed into understanding, love, and liberation. Lucas mirrored her emotion, and together they performed a quiet ritual of acknowledgement, placing their hands over the fountain, whispering intentions of healing and connection to the generations that had come before, and committing to carry forward honesty, courage, and spiritual alignment. In that moment, Sophie realized that this confession, though trembling and hesitant, was a gift. It was a divine hand guiding them to break the cycle of secrecy, to honor truth above fear, and to embrace the healing that had been waiting silently for decades. The air around them seemed lighter, freer, charged with the promise of transformation. As Sophie and Lucas stepped away from the fountain, they were no longer just family members discovering a hidden truth. They were bearers of a sacred understanding, ready to rebuild their legacy on transparency, love, and spiritual clarity. The generational chains had been broken, and in that breaking, a new chapter had begun, illuminated by the divine guidance that had always been quietly watching over them. Something huge had changed, and they both knew life would never be the same again.